Good morning, pregame crew. How are y'all doing? It is Monday, December 5th, 2022, 8:21 a.m. Eastern, 6:21 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm Chart Gal Lori, and you are at the pregame show. I missed y'all Friday, but I know y'all had the goat, so wasn't worried at all. Actually took time away from the fam to listen because, I'm addicted to y'all. I'm so glad you're here, and we're going to go over the trading week. We have PPI Friday. Besides that, nothing really groundbreaking that I see. Of course, we have news bites all the time that come out that we don't anticipate. And then next week is the big week and the biggest week of December, and that is FOMC announcement on interest rate hike or not, or how much, next Wednesday. And I think that is December 13th, if I'm not mistaken. Could be December 14th. Let me look at the calendar. December 14th. So I'm going to say hello to my friends, and then I'm going to do a few chart requests, and officially in 8 minutes, when this clock down here says 6:30, I'll get started with indices, commodities, crypto, movers, and shakers of the day. Hey, Nugget, thank you. I had a wonderful weekend with my family. I went to Christmas in the country. It is my town's once a year parade, and it was just amazing. I saw people that I haven't seen in 25 years. It was really cool. Hi, Whitney, Train Man. Hey, Night Truck, Mary, Greg, Lisa, Topher, Sal, Sam, Mary. I am so allergic to hay and grass, but I'm currently on allergy shots. But when I was little, my dad said, shake it off and keep throwing hay and planting sprigs. Hey, Andrew, Casey, good morning. Good morning, Tess. Hey, Anu in Singapore, how are you? Hey, Eli. Thanks, Night Truck. Hey, Rachel. What's up, MWM? Hey, Matthew. You want to look at Newmont Mining? Okay, we'll get to it. Hey, Ivan, Ludovic. I think you can hear me now. Hey, Michael. He didn't mention Louisiana once. Well, he's fired. He's out of here. Slow devil. Good morning. Hey, Chris. Hey, Bobby. Yep, Mary, we are. We've got lots of marijuana potential headlines. Hey, Hunter, I'll try to get to it. Hi, Pierre. Now let me go back to the top and see what the chart requests are. Okay. YMM, is that what you're asking about? I've never heard of that ticker. Okay, it's flying. That looks like low liquidity. Let's see. No, it's not actually. Beautiful chart. 993 resistance. That is the key resistance. You got 924, which you've gotten over, so 993 is the next one. Daily uptrend, you're overbought. 4 hour overbought. If I were in this name, I'd stay in this name as long as hourly EMAs are below you. If you're a bear, you're waiting for a 5-minute trend change to the downside, possibly top fishing 991 or $10 psych. All right, who's next? Matthew with Newmont Mining. It has dividend on this Wednesday of 55 cents. That's the ex-divvy date. And if you don't know what dividend is, you really need to understand if you're in a name that has a dividend and how that can impact price. What typically happens is when we wake up Wednesday morning, it's typically down 55 cents. Not to the exact penny, but people sell in anticipation of this dividend. So just be aware of that. We're holding the daily EMAs fine. Daily uptrend. 4 hour EQ. I would be a much more comfortable bear up here against 49.65 versus going long up here. So it looks like the bulls, you think about bullets and ammunition. If cash is ammunition, then how much bullets did they have to use to recover this? That was a lot. They may be tired. Okay, going back up. Good morning. We'll get started in 4 minutes. Deer, it was so funny. So my dad is a mechanic that's his field. That's his trade. He's a mechanic and a welder, and he's worked in the oil field for years. And he had his shop that he sold, and he's selling it in 2 weeks. So we had to unload this entire big shop that's on 2 acres of land. We had to unload. It took us 16 trucks, the back of trucks, and we had to unload all of these parts, and it just took me back to my childhood. I was stacking Caterpillar bearings. I didn't have John Deere parts, but Caterpillar, Illinois Tool Works, I started to take a picture. I'm like, we're still in the business. These names are still popping because my dad has a lot of their parts. So John Deere, but we like Kubotas. We're Kubota family. 44840. You got a double top up here. Holding daily EMA is just fine. Do you see the sideways action? Think about your Instapot. When you start having that pressure cooker effect when you're going sideways, and then typically you can look down here and you can typically see that you're squeezing. You have pressure building down here. So you need to get over 450 for the bulls to feel a little bit more comfortable. Bulls are in control of this chart. I would look for a top fish, high risk top fish against the 44840. If it got near there, but I'd wait for confirmation of a trend change to the downside on a shorter term time frame. GRWG. Okay. I've mapped this out. Mary, I think you sent me a message. You didn't know where I got that 776? It was from over here. Sorry, y'all. Don't want to make y'all sick. And I say that because my family, everybody suffers vertigo. A lot of people do. And in my family and my dad, we couldn't even halter brake the bull in front of him because we were walking the bull in circles, a smaller bull, not Gigi. And it makes my dad nauseated. So he had to leave. He couldn't even watch us. Okay. So the 776 was a 4-hour double top from April 21st of this year. So that's where I got that level. And that's already been surpassed. I just wanted to explain how I got the level. And then I see it again. The high of April 13th is 829. So be aware of that. This chart is fine, but if we don't get some safe, I may have to pause this alert. Okay, there we go. So if we don't get that safe news that we're anticipating this week, this could come back and come back pretty hard, but everything is healthy right now with hourly uptrends. Support 766. Euro, and then we'll get started with the indices. That's a pretty big pullback. Odds favor 4-hour lower high compared to 2168. Weekly, we're getting stopped by the 50 MA on the weekly. We have a double top up there. Weekly is in a tiny uptrend. Daily's in an uptrend. 4-hour lower high anticipated. If you wanted a long, I'd feel more comfortable with hourly oversold as long as it's staying in a daily uptrend. That's where I'd be looking to go long. Liquidity looks to be a slight problem. No, I wonder why it looked like that on the hourly. Looked a little gappy. So your support from Friday, 2084. Hey, Luciano. Okay, now I got to go pause that one. Sorry, I'm working with different alerts on Trade Keeper. I'm testing them out so I can help the members that got the Black Friday special. And it seems I'm getting positive feedback so far on the indicator. Hey, Trey. All right, let's get started. Good morning. Welcome to the pregame show. This is who I am. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and we teach technical analysis. So every day I come in here and I cause trouble. No, just kidding. I look at the markets and I try to give you a general idea of what is going on in the market. And this is a new tool I'm working on. This is a dynamic chart. It is a work in progress. This column here is my personal, it's just arbitrarily contrived or whatever, derived. I came up with these numbers based on my specific and personal market experience. You could go through and reweight it based on your experience, and these market bulls versus bears, it would be different calculations if I was looking at the hourly versus the 4-hour versus the daily. So I try to just synthesize the data and say, okay, this is the most important thing to me. So now this is bearish, this is bullish, just so we can kind of get an idea on the day. And this is about right. I am mixed on where we are on the chart. I have a mixed view of the day, so this makes sense. Now, there are scenarios where we could chop all the way into next Wednesday, and that could make sense. So you have to recognize if you have a trending day, stay with the trend to the upside if it's an uptrending day, to the downside if it's a downtrending day, and recognizing when you're in chop, you got to have the right conditions to trade. And in the past, I've said you need to be able to read the room. And if you can't read the room, you're going to get caught in trades that you're just going against the market and they're going to stop you out, then reverse, and you're going to be frustrated. So know that. And if you're interested in my chart setup, you can click on the link below in the video description to receive a PDF explanation as to what all these colors on Lori's chart means. All right, so I kind of zoomed out to the weekly, and excuse this busyness. Actually, I'll do it all over again so you can see it. From the top of last week's high to the low, we had a pretty volatile week. I'm not going to lie, I snuck in the house Friday to avoid work for a bit because I needed a 15-minute break. And, you know, in this job, we sit a lot. I have a standing desk. I do try to stand here and there and get on my treadmill. But man, I was walking 17,000 to 18,000 steps in just a few hours on the farm. So I'm happy to be back. I did check into the market, so I'm not completely out of touch with my travel day Thursday and then Friday being off. So we have the weekly 50 MA overhead. It's something to note. And on this daily weighting, I put that as a bearish mode. So just something to note. So if we look at the high of last week to the low, then we zoom in. Look what happened to these bears. So this was Friday morning on that reaction. We pulled all the way down. Actually, I did that backwards. My bad. Do this one more time. I'm a little rusty. So here, when we pulled back Friday, we pulled back almost 60% of last week's move. And then that required a lot of, let's use the same word, ammunition to get back up. And we're still unable to get over those EMAs. We are not over the 821 EMA or the 50 simple moving average. So let's go ahead and say that word. Get it out the way. The Great Wall of Louisiana is what I affectionately call the hourly 50 MA, or the 50 MA on any time frame for that matter, the Great Wall of Louisiana. It's a great litmus test as to who's in control. And what do I mean by that? Is price below the 50 MA? Yes, it's weak. It can literally be that simple. And I talk to you often about developing a system. And you could say, okay, as long as price is below the daily, the 4 hour, the hourly, whichever time frame, pick a time frame. As long as it's below those EMAs, and I like the hourly for this type of day trade concept, I will short 5-minute overbought conditions as long as it's below the hourly EMA. And I try to give you different examples of various systems, going from a lower low to a higher high. See, this is a double top. That's a great trade setup for me to short this. I love when we retrace. We have these big moves down. Think about all the money that was required to push it back up. I like those for top fish setups. So we didn't even get a candle close above the 50 MA, a meaningful one anyway. So I'm slightly leaning bearish today. On the weekly, the level is 41.75. So I'm going to clear these fibs off. 41.75 is the level. We have the weekly 50 MA in the 41.22 area, and that is overhead. So weekly trend we do not get a higher high until we get over 41.75. I'm not counting this little tiny wick down as a trend change on the weekly. On the daily, we have an uptrend, and we're fine. We got over the daily 200 MA. It looks great. That long lower wick is unfortunate that we pulled back so far, but it is good that the bulls bought that dip feverishly. Then we look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ is a little different. I would say we have a weekly uptrend. It ain't cute. Lower high, higher low, higher high. It's not cute. And on the daily, we broke support. So if we look out at the 12-hour, we could say we have a little potential megaphone action happening. Do y'all see that? Higher highs without follow through, lower low without follow through. It's unconfirmed, but something to keep in mind. That daily trend changed to the downside. So I'm not going to go through these individually because I will when I'm on the chart. But you can see that we're leaning a little more bearish. And I can make simple statements as well. As long as Tesla and Apple are bearish, this market's going to have a really hard time going up. It'd require every other stock in the stock market to pull to the upside to keep this market up. And Apple had semi-bearish news this morning, and Tesla had bearish news this morning. So that's also weighing on my overall thesis. No big catalyst. PPI. no big catalyst. PPI is not as important as CPI. We do have it. We have data every day this week. If we look at it, I keep this on the other screen so I don't get surprised. So let me look up today. So today we have, these are the ones that always catch people by surprise. It's those that happen after the market opens. We have services PMI, we have factory orders and ISM data this morning. So you can set your alert for 9:55 a.m. and say, check positions, check stop losses, data coming up in 5 minutes. If you're a TCG member, 99% of the time I'm very good, unless I'm on vacation, about posting when these data events are about to happen. So just know that. And then this week, we have that data I just mentioned. Tomorrow, nothing big. Non-farm productivity on Wednesday. Initial jobless claims this every Thursday. Core PPI for November. These could impact the market. So I expect to get some volatility out of that. So yes, overall, let's call it a subdued week. It doesn't mean it's not going to do anything, just subdued. We had the OPEC meeting yesterday. OPEC agrees to keep the 2 million barrels per day production cuts through January. OPEC keeps curbs despite Russia price cap over Chinese COVID lockdown. So they want to keep prices up. So they agree to keep those production cuts. So if they don't produce a lot of oil, then they're shrinking the supply, and they're assuming they're a little worried about the demand or lack of demand due to Chinese COVID lockdowns. So they're trying to keep their supply controlled, and that way price remains either contained or to the upside if COVID lockdowns were to be released on China. So Hang Seng was up 4.51%, I believe. Let me go. Come on, chart. You can do it. Hang Seng was up 4.51%. DAX is down 0.48%. And by the way, I have notes on the other screen that I share with TCG members when I'm done with the show. That way they can cut and paste and slice and dice them however they see fit. So I use these notes just to kind of keep myself organized for the day. So China names are in vogue today. What do I mean by that? Well, if Hang Seng, let's go back to general chat. This is our chat room. So pre-market high volume and volatility scans. If we look at, this is from Thinkorswim about an hour ago, NEO, XBEV, Billy, IQ, they're 4 of our top 5 high volume names, and this is volume by shares, not by dollars. All of them, 4 of the 5 top names are all China names. Now, Tesla more than eclipses all of them combined due to the cost. So if you multiply the dollar value, 194.86 times 2 million, the dollar volume, Tesla's number 1 by far. So just know then we have LI, Baba, PDD, Futu, and Tao. So what's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So of our top 11, 2 are not China names. So what that tells you is that China names are going to have a ton of volatility. Does it mean China names are going to continue to scream to the upside? No. It could. I mean, XBEV, those bulls love to squeeze those bears. Look at that. Up almost 15% Friday and up almost 15% this morning. So 13.11. So your next resistance is 1480 and 1483. But the way to trade this, and just an idea, not an absolute, is a first 5-minute back burner on these Chinese names that are gapping up big. Those are some trade ideas. So let's get back on track with our indices. Hourly EMAs are above us, and we're in an hourly downtrend. That's all I need to know right now about ES. If I zoom out, I'm like, this weekly's healthy, but that 50 EMA is overhead. The daily's healthy. So what is my most important chart? I would say the 4-hour. Are we going to continue to EQ? Because we have plenty of room for higher low. So 408550 changes the 4-hour trend. We got to break 4006 to break this EQ. Well, I guess the EQ is already to the downside, but bulls bounced enough to give themselves enough room for a higher low here. Now, what are they going to do with it? So because of this great range, huge range, again, it has me looking sideways today. We're opening up in a weekly inside bar, so just stay agile out there. Okay, I talked to you about this potential 12-hour rising wedge, megaphone on NQ. We missed this, breaking this resistance by $20. So ES broke it by $1. NASDAQ failed by $20 and we pulled back. Plenty of room for a 4-hour higher low, having mega issues with the hourly EMAs at the moment. Yeah, there is a lot of money on the sidelines from what I've seen. Yeah, if you could hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to keep ripping through charts, and if I have time, I'll show you a picture of a cow or a goat or two. Okay, so RTY, hourly EMAs are overhead, but we are fighting to hold the hourly 50 EMA. So how does that differ from ES? Let's go back and look. ES, hourly 50 EMA overhead. NASDAQ, hourly 50 MA overhead. YM, hourly 50 MA overhead. RTY, hourly 50 MA is below us. So RTY holding up a little bit better. Sorry about the flight attendant voice. I just like to make it really monotone and just say, okay, if the benchmark is the hourly 50 MA, if I'm just going to use that to judge price action, RTY is holding up better. So we could look to growth names for potential back burner trades. All right. YM. And if I don't mention the support and resistance, 99% of the time I have it marked up on this light gray area, these light gray, font and shading over here on this legend. So our resistance 34447, support 33935. VIX. So y'all remember last week we talked about this number and this number over and over and over and over. $20.30, that area was a key support. And bears broke it last week to the downside. Look where we banged our head. So if we're going to get a tattoo for the day, let's let our tattoo say, price has memory. So that is what buyers and sellers at some point said, this is where we're going to go to auction and we're just going to have a bidding war right here at $20.30. And a lot of volume went off in that area. If I were to pull up a volume profile, I'm sure we would have one of our biggest nodes right here at $20.30. So it makes sense that we go back to that area and bears say, no. We already fought here, essentially here. Oh, we're not letting you get back through this area. But when will the bears run out of ammunition? Who knows? But look how much room the bulls give themselves for a higher low on VIX. So yes, VIX broke that key support over here on Thursday of $20.30 that we've been hitting over and over and over and over and over, but is now serving as resistance. And we are below the hourly 50 MA. So we're below the hourly 50 MA, have enough room for hourly higher low. If bulls could get through 2033 and even more importantly, this prior level, because we know how the VIX likes to break resistance and then look above and fail. So I want to see it get through 2042 to really say, okay, bulls are picking up some steam here on VIX, and that's bearish for the market. Okay, did that. US 10-year is a mess. It is bearish. So we've got, again, conflicting signals. So our markets are bearish. ES is below the hourly 50 MAs and US 10-year? What? Como se va? Like, it makes no sense. Dollar's below the hourly 50 MA. Say what? Como se va? It's below the hourly 50 MA. Dollar is weak, yet the market is weak. So this is the market's opportunity to seize the day and carpe diem, and it's not. That is a bearish divergence. And what I mean is dollar is no longer manning the gate. It's like a prisoner. They open the door. And so it's like, come on, ES, make a run for it. The door is open. The prisoner's not manning the gate. And they're just sitting in their jail cell being suppressed by hourly EMA. So this is the time for the market to shoot a shot, and it's not doing it. So that is bearish divergence. Daily downtrend on the dollar, weekly downtrend, and on a bounce, we're looking for a lower high. Hang Seng up 4.5%. DAX is down 0.47%. Bitcoin is a little stronger than most. So last week I beat that dead horse, which I love my horses, so I don't mean that literally. I mean that figuratively. There are 316 of you currently watching and 102 likes. Can at least half of y'all hit a like button? I don't think any of y'all are paying to be on here unless I don't know something. So this looks like a weekly bear flag. And we have a daily bull break. That ain't convincing. And sorry, when I'm with my mom and dad and family for a few days, that accent comes back in thick. All right, so this looks a beautiful chart on the 4-hour. And on the hourly, we're losing our uptrend. So if I'm a BTC bear, if I could be a bear, which if my only brokerage I have open right now is Coinbase Pro and I can't short, but I can short with is it BITI? Yeah, that may be a trade setup today. This looks like an hourly bear flag. Daily inside bars, Thursday and Friday. This could be a trade setup where if Bitcoin on the next bounce, you may want to top fish 17390. Because when we look at this, 17791 keeps the bear flag alive. Hey Mustang, I'm sorry that it times you out. Nightbot is so mean with those emojis. I appreciate all the thumbs up and the smile. Sorry it timed you out. So it still looks like a weekly bear flag to me as long as we're below. And I'm going to keep it easy, as my ex-mother-in-law used to say. Keep it light on yourself. We're going to keep it light on ourselves. 177,800. As long as Bitcoin is below that level, bear flag in play on the weekly. Ethereum. As long as 1,300 holds and daily, I could say daily. I could even say 4-hour candle closes below, a weekly bear flag is in play. Oh, look at y'all. Y'all really got that like count up. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Okay, gold. Gold, I didn't like it this morning. I saw a potential hourly bear flag, and we're testing that support now at 1805.50. So on the 4-hour, odds favor a lower high. We've had a pretty decent pullback. It's not guaranteed lower high, but looking at this hourly, I felt comfortable as a bear this morning. I didn't take the trade because I need to start off real slow. Because when you take vacation and you come back, you don't just jump into the game. It's just like not warming up for a basketball game for 4 days and then you just go jump on the court. That's how injuries occur. And in trading, an injury is, you get a big loss. And I don't want an injury, so I'm going to take it slow. So gold, let me back up and give you bigger context. Weekly, we're running into that 50 MA, 1824.60. And we have not been able to break it here. This little monthly level right here. I mean, this is a nice risk to reward short on gold against 1822. And you could actually move your stops down to like 1812 here if you wanted to short it. Oil is strong. There we go. Now we're over half likes. Thank you so very much. So on the weekly, we're looking for a lower high on oil. On the daily, we got a higher high. Now bulls are looking for a trend change up and over 83.34. OPEC meeting was this weekend. I can't tell you for sure. I thought I paused that. I can't tell you fundamentally how to interpret the data because I saw it that it was a mixed bag. And then I just try my dangest to not read a lot into fundamental data. What was priced in? What was not priced in? I don't know. I don't follow EIA and OPEC data on the daily. I see it, I copy, I paste it, I digest it as best I can. But the best lie detector test of who's telling the truth, bulls or bears, who's in control is price, not OPEC output. So you just think every chart is trying to prove itself to you, whether it's a bull or a bear, and who is showing their hand more and where is the divergence. So right now we had a big old pullback on oil, and look at that, we zoomed to a higher high. Bears will be looking to defend 83.34. If they do and you get a 5-minute trend change to the downside, it could be a good top fish. NG is hurting for certain. Daily is not oversold. 4-hour potential bear flag, but we are oversold. We have a double bottom at 5788. I like a bottom fish of 5715, and I would even call it 570. I like a bottom fish of that because if you're wrong and price is right there, you should get stopped out immediately. So We had a gap down open last night on nat gas. Let's look at it on NGF 23. And we've lost these levels. So on nat gas here, we're holding that 571.572 on the continuous contract. On NGF, we are not. So 5824, and we hit 5786. Your last remaining defense here locally is 5645. So pretty bearish chart on that gas. So I would look for first 5 or 15 minute overbought to short. That should be a nice risk to reward trade setup. Apple. Okay. So I had all those lines drawn for a reason. Now I'm going to go look to my notes. What did I say about Apple? Apple, negative Foxconn news this morning. Price seems to be shrugging it off at the time. That was 3 hours ago. 149 is next resistance. Over 149.14 changes the trend. So 149.14 is right here. It's the high right here. We need to get over that to change the trend. Okay, so let's just talk about this weekly chart on Apple. Okay, higher high, higher low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. So we need to get over 153.59 to break out of this weekly EQ to the upside. So if this is the only chart you get, and someone says, it's kind of like Wheel of Fortune. I watched Wheel of Fortune with my parents this weekend. I haven't watched it in probably 20 years. And on Wheel of Fortune, they give you a letter. So I'm going to give you one letter to solve the market puzzle. And the letter is the Apple chart. That's the only letter you get to solve the mystery. But it's the most important letter. Let's say Apple shows up, it's the letter E, and it shows up 10 times on the Vanna whiteboard. Then it has more weight. It's going to provide you more clues than any other chart. Now, that's maybe one of my best analogies ever. We'll see. Y'all can tell me if that helped or not. But let's do the path button so you can see it. And yes, I'm taking my time on this chart because, yes, it's that important. Lower high. No, that was a higher high. Higher low. Lower high. Higher low. Lower high. Higher low. Do y'all see that? Look at that 50 RSI suppressing price. So this this is the only chart I have, I'd say, man, we may, and this is a weekly chart, we may stay inside this EQ, and let's say this is this week's candle. Let's say it's up or down, and we still hold these key resistances. It's just waiting for next week's FOMC meeting. Do y'all see that? We're just waiting for next week's FOMC meeting. So we would have to break through 153.59 this week to break this weekly EQ to the upside. I don't know let me rephrase. That is a tall order considering we don't have major data this week. It could happen on PPI. Odds favor it happens next Wednesday on FOMC. So just remember this Apple chart. If you get bent or turned one way, just say, whoa, am I getting too much of a bias here? You know, my thesis is Apple's going to go sideways to FOMC and remain in this weekly EQ. So we'll see how that develops. If I'm looking for a day trade, I'm looking to scalp against 148 or 148.57 makes me a little more comfortable. 149.14 changes the daily trend back to the upside. Weekly lower high is then for sure set. Amazon's weak. So then I use this clue. I just got another letter in my Wheel of Fortune. Now I got an A. And I got a few more A's up on the board. So I'm now solving this puzzle. So Amazon is a little bit weaker. So now I can go back to Apple and say, well, Apple hasn't broken the low of Friday, 145.65, but it sure does increase the chances because cousin Amazon did. Your next support is down at 91.53. I would disregard this wick here on broker open. So 91.53 is your next support. NVIDIA is stronger than most. Do you see this little EQ? So if I'm looking for a long name, I like NVIDIA more because of the distance away from Friday's low. PPI is Friday. 164.45 is your, 164.45 is your low of Friday. I don't want to see this hourly 50 MA loss, or I'm not as optimistic on this potential long. But if the market is bouncing to the upside, I like NVDA for a long. And I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth here. 79.16 and 79.23. We have a double top on AMD right here. So if it were to get back up to those levels, I think AMD would be a good short. Nvidia could be a potential long. Netflix, no, excuse me. I just said Netflix randomly and then pulled up the Tesla chart. Tesla had bearish news. They're going to suffer 20% decreased output in China due to the Foxconn thing, I think. Please confirm if you're trading Tesla on the regular. So for Tesla, Shanghai output miss, hitting Tesla this morning hourly lower high, the more likely scenario. I typed that 3 hours ago, and we double bottom at 184.50. That was pretty cool bottom fish. If you grab that, I saw it way later. But I like a top fish of 195.03. Odds favor a lower high on the hourly. Unless the market's bouncing pretty well, then it could just like, you know, those double bounce on the trampoline. You go where you double bounce someone. The market could Tesla and help it out up and over 195.03, then 196.25 if the market's strong, and help Tesla shrug off this bad news. Baba. Okay, 5 minutes getting slightly oversold in pre-market. So I want a 5 minute oversold during regular trading hours and or first 15-minute oversold. Don't just jump in. We want confirmation on a shorter term time frame, like a 2 minute chart, i.e. you want to see the EPT test before you start buying maternity clothes. You need confirmation. So don't just buy a 15-minute oversold carte blanche. You need proof. NEO, same thing. Thanks, Rachel. Okay, so NEO, we're up 7%, back burner trade. CGC and MSOS, back burner trade. So yes, 456, as Mary pointed out, is super important here. That is the high from November 15th. And then we have the 200 MA overhead on the daily. That makes me an overly eager bear, actually. So I would like to top fish Friday's high. Oh man, that ship may have sailed, but just top fish that 450 area, looking for a pull back. And then if we pull back hard, I'm looking for that first 5 or 15 minute oversold in regular trading hours. MSOS, we got over that 1313. Your next resistance over Friday's high is 1382, holding up a little bit better than CGC. As long as we're holding the hourly EMAs, the bulls are in control. So just keep it simple, y'all. Keep it simple. And then if we gap up above 1349, that is a great look for MSOS, considering the market is pulling back. That's a good look. That's a relative outperformer. So you're looking for a first 5 minute or 15 minute oversold for a potential trade setup on MSOS. Okay, I'm going to stop and do Roku for you, Lisa Dove. Okay. Roku had news this week. We couldn't get through 61.99. We're over the daily EMAs and 50 MA. Yeesh. That looked like a 2 hour rising wedge, possibly. No. Have plenty of room for hourly high or low compared to Friday's low of 57.90. If you want a bottom fish, 59.33 or 58.95. That was not 58.95. Let me click on that appropriately. So maybe first 5 minute oversold could provide a long. You're kind of extended up here. I would be a more comfortable long bull on a pullback to the 21 EMA. You want a little bit of consolidation. We got a tiny higher high by $1. Another tiny higher high by 50 cents. Okay, so I'm going to drag my cursor over here, and I want you to look right here. Right here, do y'all see that? High of 60.99, that's Friday's high. Okay, keep looking at that number, okay? So Wednesday's high, 59.47. Thursday's high, 60.50. Friday's high, 60.99. Tiny higher highs without a lot of follow through. What does that tell you? Bulls are getting exhausted. So I'm a more comfortable bear on Roku until we get a pullback. Sometimes when y'all laugh, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's pretty funny. Okay, I'm going to go over Netflix because it's one of my Queen of the Mountain trades. So Meta. Meta is over the daily 50 MA back burner setup. Those XLC names were a lot stronger last week than those tech names. Support 12236, and then from intraday 121.89. I like the first 5 minute or first 15 minute oversold on Meta and on Netflix. I am slightly concerned of Netflix here. Now this is not a legitimate rising wedge yet, because we don't have that third touch on the bottom, but we do have 3 touches on the top. So Netflix, you could look for a top fish on a push-up extension into Friday's high, or you could wait for first 15-minute oversold for a potential long. I don't like Netflix location up here. I don't like it. But it's definitely relatively stronger than everything else. And it had some positive news this morning. It came out from JPM. So, first 5-minute or 15-minute oversold. Good morning. You like that close to the mic? Okay, GM. And, Netflix and Meta, MSOS and CGC, all 4 of these Queen of the Mountain trades, Neo, Baba, all 6 have back burner setups. They were relatively strong. Look at these percentages from Friday. 4.7, 8.6, 9, 4%, 2.5, Netflix 1%. Netflix you could have a top fish opportunity on that daily potential rising wedge and or 5 or 15-minute oversold. Okay, GM. Oh God, it's 7:02. I gotta stop. I have to stop. Okay, we have a top fish here. No, we have a double top at 41.58, 41.38, and key support 39.23. I'm gonna go really fast. LTC, USDT. We're over that 83.66 bull break, daily EQ bull break. Got a lot of work to do on the monthly. Bears are waiting, licking their chops for this one. Bulls are in control at the moment. You can do first 5 or 15-minute oversold for oversold, a back burner on LTC due to relative strength, MEDP, and then we're done. Daily inside bar, odds fit. Oof. You're in a daily downtrend. Support 196.85, resistance 217.86. You're losing those key EMAs. Potential monthly bull flag. You have an inside bar that just started in December, so you could go sideways for a while. Last month's range was huge. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, I didn't show you pictures. For anyone who cares, here's a quarter. Call someone who cares. Sorry. Those are some goats. That's our GG. He is scary. I swear he stares through my soul. Look at his eyes. Look at those eyes. He never takes his eyes off of you. He is scary. And then we had some cute goats. I don't know if this will play. It's my family's farm. My nephews, they love this one with the horns. They like to try to ride him. My brother's house over there. There's our horsey. Gigi, and that's all her girlfriends over here. These cows to the left. We call them the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. There's some nice breed of cows. We have papers on them, so they're the real nice ones, so we call them the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. So that's all for, well, maybe one more. I may not get to it. Trying. During the day, I showed a few pictures helping my dad around the farm. So my dad has a lot of chickens. There's me and my dad. And I was supervising him right here. And that's my parents' house and their stocked pond. That's all the hay that we stack. And there's my nephew running from the pond in the rain with a bass fish. All right. Love you all. Y'all use stop losses. I promised y'all pictures.